give that vote.
Court is in session with Ryan in Sacktown on If You Don't Like That. Now, Ryan in Sacktown.
Oh, must be Rhino.
What is up, everybody? I'm understanding that we are having some stream issues. I had to relaunch the show, so sorry about that. Hopefully everything is working on your end. Everything seems to be working just fine for the Sacramento Kings. 7 of their last 9 they have won, and I'm going to tell you today why I firmly and truly believe that 4 of their 6 next games might be 4 of the most important games remaining on the schedule. And I know that they've got the brutal home stretch, but 4 of the next 6 are particularly important. We're going to talk about those today. A lot going on. In fact, right off the rip, let's just go to this. Jason Anderson reporting that a number of the Denver Nuggets going to be questionable for the matchup tomorrow in Denver. We'll see how that pans out. The Kings have gotten a lot of good luck along the way. I mean, you hate to see what happened to Kyrie Irving last night, and just this situation in Denver. It's unreal. I feel for the fan base. I don't know how the Sacramento fan base would deal with something like that. And I'm not comparing Sacramento fans to Dallas fans, but I am just comparing fan bases. Y'all support a team. I think Sacramento is more passionate than Dallas. I think you'd probably see more protests if Domantas Sabonis was traded for a bag of chips and a basketball than you saw in Dallas with the Luka situation. But my goodness, think about this stat for a second. Only 2 teams in the history of the NBA have gone from the NBA Finals to possibly out of the playoffs. 2 teams, the 1999 Chicago Bulls and the 1970 Boston Celtics. And that is staring the Dallas Mavericks right in the face as we sit. So that is breaking from Jason Anderson. Wanted to get to that first and foremost. I'll tell you about something that happened earlier today. I'm just shaking my head at it. It's one of those things that's in the category of losing your wallet. It's one of those things that's in the category of dropping your phone in the pool before phones were waterproof. And it just sucks. Even if you're not doing anything wrong, it sucks. You're just, the feeling that you get, you hate it. I'll tell you about it on the other side. And again, we have got a ton of stuff to go over today. So hopefully you can get in here, spread the word that we are live, hopefully on X as well. It didn't look like X was working, but I see 5363 have checked in at some point via YouTube and or X, whatever it may be. So let's get after it. By the way, too, Grant, he's here tonight, 7 p.m. Open forum. Look at that new graphic. Lightning coming off of Napes. It's fitting. I really liked the end of the show last night. That was pretty cool, by the way. Go check that out if you haven't. Let's get it on a Tuesday. Welcome in to the King's Court.
Lights on the screen, hey, it's Grant and Ryan. We bleed purple, talking hoops, never lying. Sacramento Kings, we rise and we fall. If you don't like that, then you don't know ball. Jerry sitting with the stories of the game, spilling all the truth, driving legends insane. From the Cow Palace days to Arco's roar, this town's heart beats on the hardwood floor. If you don't like that, turn away now. Kings in our blood, we ride strong and proud. Running up the score, Kings never back down. If you don't like that, this ain't your town.
We got to get that last part edited out. We're working on that. Welcome in. King's Court time here on a Tuesday, bringing you about 2 hours of content, lots to talk about. We've got something that we are efforting that I think some of you would be somewhat interested in for tomorrow. We will tell you about that. I'm going to tell you about what happened to me this morning. We're going to have an NBC moment here on the show. You remember these growing up if you're my age group? I'm going to educate you on something that actually I did not realize. I should have known it, but I did not realize it. So we'll get to the rundown in a minute, and I'm going to put the graphic up. It's still been a roller coaster of a season. 7-9, half of a game out of the 6th seed, currently in the 8th seed, taking care of business, putting your foot on Dallas's throat and not letting up last night in the third quarter. That third quarter was just beautiful for the Kings. And I'm not looking necessarily at the opponent and the quality of the opponent. I'm looking at the consistency in which the Kings are playing, specifically the communication on defense. It has been different the last couple of games, something that I really like. And you look at the defensive stats, they are back to 15th in the NBA in defensive rating. So I like that a lot. We're going to look at the shot charts, but we'll continue making sense of this season, which will wrap up in what? We got 21 games remaining. So a lot to talk about, but I want to see who's here first, hear from all you before we get into last night's game and start talking about Denver. And also, I'll tell you what happened to me as well. No sound. You know, John, I pulled a sound drop just for you. I am so glad that you are the first comment today, John.
John, what the hell are you doing?
What are you doing, John? There is sound. You can hear me. What's up, Steely Beats? How you doing today? Yes, I am going Monty McNair. I don't do it much, but today felt like a Monty McNair type of day. Well. Look what the cat dragged in. Mr. PK. How you doing, my man? Derek, offense and defense look better with JV. You know, it looks different. It's just different. I kind of talked about it on the post-game show last night. It's different watching this team with a traditional center in the middle. It opens up, and I am not taking anything away from Domantas Sabonis. Love of Domas. Huge Domas guy. You know that. But he's not the biggest guy. He's a different type of center. He's a niche center. But having a JV, somebody that's got that size, that's more traditional, and I get that JV probably leans a little bit more towards a Jokic Sabonis in terms of their style of play than a Embiid or one of those power centers. But the way that Jonas plays, it's how do I put it? It kind of has me a little bit speechless because it's opening up new things for the guys that Domas really can't do physically. I mean, Domas does it to a degree, but it just happens automatically because of Jonas's size. Like getting down low, running the floor, it might not be as quick, but almost every possession that the Kings went on a break last night, he was pinning guys down low. And if he wasn't getting the ball down low when he had his man pinned, he was blocking them off. He was getting in their ways so guys could get to the bucket. It's just a little bit different. And again, Domas does some of those things, but not at the frequency that Valanciunas does. I guess maybe what I'm getting at is I am still starving for a Sabonis Valanciunas lineup. I am starving for that lineup. I think that lineup gives you your best version of the Sacramento Kings. I think that probably gives you your most relevant and dangerous lineup that the Kings have had in years, simply because of the size that teams would have to deal with up front and the skill two guys that have similar skill sets. So it's a good conversation. We can have it. And thank goodness that you have Valanciunas. Think about where we would be at right now without Valanciunas. And as I said yesterday on the show, no reason whatsoever, none at all, to rush Domas back. Let him get right. Let him get right. I am doing well, PK. Hope you are doing it good too. Love you too, sir. Love you too, sir. Even though, like, PK, I'm still trying to learn your deal, man. Sometimes you're happy, sometimes you're abrasive. He's probably calling right now. Johnny on the spot. Why don't we just let him come on? PK, what's up?
Sorry, I keep getting all these other calls coming in.
Good. How you doing?
I can't hear you. Your mic is off.
My mic is not off, bro.
Your mic is off.
My mic is off?
Yes,
I'm looking
your
at
mic is
settings.
off.
What are
Your
you?
mic is off. I can hear. I can see your mouth, but your mic is off.
Well, then it's a problem with the stream
I'll call
because my
back.
mic is
I'll call
on.
back.
All right. Can everybody in the chat hear me? Or is it just PK that cannot hear me? Like, can I get a 1 in the chat if you can hear me? Are we good? Am I just a talking mouth? Don't listen to him, Ryan. Okay, you can hear me. It's a PK thing. All right, thank you. Man, you see, this is not how I needed this day to started. I knew it was going to be a day when this happened. I told you we were going to run through some things at the beginning, and we might as well get to it now. So, I'm running a couple of errands, doing my thing. The little man is spending time with grandma and papa, which is always an awesome thing for him. Just minding my own business, and guess what happens? Yeah. I'm sitting there getting ready to make my left turn, and I'm looking up in my rearview mirror, and I see the lights. I see the sirens. And even worse, it was a motorcycle officer. I support the blue. I don't have a problem with police. I support what they do. In fact, I support anybody that runs to situations that most people are naturally wired to run away from. But I'm thinking, what did I do? And so I obviously know I don't have anything in my car, right? I know that I'm not riding dirty, quote unquote. But I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, man, it's one thing if you're going like 90 or 90 and a 70. It's one thing if you know that you're in the carpool and you shouldn't have been in the carpool, right? So I make my left turn. The officer comes up. And by the way, I am always prepared for this to happen. In one console of my vehicle, I keep all three things that I need. I've got my registration, I've got my insurance, and then obviously my license is with me. But I have those two things always ready to go. So I'm thinking, all right, smooth rhino. Hey, officer, how you doing? Already got it in hand. And he's like, yeah, the reason I pulled you over is for a cell phone violation. And I'm thinking, wait, a cell phone violation? I wasn't driving with my phone in my hand. Now, I will admit this, at the stoplight. I had my phone in my lap because I had just dropped off my son, and my son sent me a text message. But I picked up my phone from my lap and I put it on the clip that's on my dash. Wow, I was stopped at a red light. Did you know that even if you are stopped at a red light, you cannot touch that phone? You can't hold that phone. That is still a cell phone violation. And then I hand him my stuff and I'm like, there's not going to be a problem here. He's like, do you have insurance that's not expired in 2023? I'm like, oh my gosh. I thought I updated it. I thought I put the new one in because I always want it there in case my wife, who sometimes drives my car, is to get pulled over. Because, quite frankly, sweetie, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to put you on blast, but if one of us is getting pulled over, typically it's you and it's not me. But no, I had to go through the process of getting the insurance. Long story short, he didn't give me a moving violation with the phone, but it's a violation that doesn't go against your points. But I'm telling all of you, and the guy was cool about it. It is what it is. I broke the law, but I'm telling you because don't pick up your phone if you're at a red light. Like, am I the only person that didn't know that? Like, I thought you were cool to at least touch the phone, grab the phone at a red light. I had no idea that that thing is like hands off. Do not touch the phone. So that's how my morning started off. And I'm telling all of you, Derek says it's a dumb law. I get it. People die from sending text messages. It's stupid. I like the hands-free law. I get why it's in place, but you're stopped. You're at a red light. So it started. So the legal part of me, I'm starting to kick things through my head, right? I'm like, so if I'm sitting in a parking lot and I have my phone in my hand, am I theoretically breaking the law if I'm in the driver's seat? And I start going through these scenarios. I'm not asking the officer about it, but yes, that is what happened to me. Hands free means hands free. Yes, but if you're moving, you're stopped at a red light. Anyways, yes, I was busted. Rhino will be making a $25 donation to some county. And apparently, yeah, I should have offered him an autographed Keon Ellis photograph. Yeah, I did have a King's hat on, and he was looking at me a little bit weird when he looked at my ID. So I don't know. He might or might not watch the show. He was pretty cool about everything, but or watch the King's programming here. But anyway, so officer, thank you for what you do. Thanks for making it, I guess, painless as it can be. But you all know that feeling. It's just that feeling of, I don't want to say panic, but it's one of those situations. There's a small segment of situations where you know that like you're not doing anything wrong or you haven't had anything, like you don't have anything with you that could get you in trouble, but you still feel that panic. Yeah, that's what I felt earlier today. So, anyways, back to the basketball. Damn, man. You guys ever go to traffic school? Traffic school, you want to talk about something that's a joke? Traffic school is a joke. They literally have comedy traffic schools. Here's the other thing. AEW is here tomorrow night. For those that did not know that, they're going to be at the Memorial Auditorium. They're going to be taping Dynamite and I believe one other show. So I'm bringing it up because I have been in touch with AEW and we may or may not possibly have a talent here on the show. We are efforting that. So I will let you know. You might have somebody popping by tomorrow from AEW, or I might be actually going to AEW and getting some information for the show, some not autographs, excuse me. That's what Adam would do. Some content for our Fridays where we talk wrestling. So go check out AEW Memorial Auditorium. Obviously, Kyrie Irving, man. Kyrie Irving. That was disgusting last night. I felt so awful for Kyrie Irving, seeing him do his knee like that, especially since he has basically put this Mavericks team on his back all season. Luka in and out of the lineup. Kyrie, a guy that's usually injury prone himself, but he's near the top of the league in minutes played this year, and he has kept the Mavs relevant with a bunch of guys that are just role players, bench guys in the NBA. Everybody else has been hurt. They're out. AD gone. Luka obviously in Los Angeles. So seeing him go to the free throw line, that hit me last night. That hit me really hard because he knew he was done. You could see it in his eyes. He knew that knee was done. And it's a torn ACL for those that do not know. But Dallas fan, man, where do you go from here? I just don't know. I told you the stat at the start of the show that only 2 teams in the history of the NBA history of the NBA have gone from the NBA finals to missing the playoffs. And Dallas is going to be in very, very, very close territory to that unless they're able to get somebody back. And now, by the way, there's talk that Anthony Davis might not even come back the rest of the year. So sad to see for Kyrie. Want to acknowledge it. Also, by the way, timing. If you're a Dallas Mavericks fan, yesterday you just got this notification. The Mavericks revealed they are raising season ticket prices for next season. Now, I don't have a problem with teams raising season ticket prices. It's a pretty normal thing, but you would think with what has happened this year, with the decisions they've made and where they're at now, you might want to rethink that. You might want to walk it back. You might want to find a way to reframe whatever your rate increase is going to be. Maybe find a different place in the budget to make up for that than the season ticket holders. So the Mavericks said season tickets will go up by an average of 8.61% next season. And get this, if you're a Mavericks fan, this is what their explanation was. It's going up. The increase is due to a quote, ongoing investment in the team and fan engagement. An ongoing investment in the team and fan engagement. This is the team, let me remind you, that decided they did not feel Luka Doncic was worthy of a super max contract. Think about that. So if you are a Dallas Mavericks fan, I would love to hear from you. I really would. Also newsworthy that we're going to talk about Steve Kerr raising hell, talking out about officials not calling traveling violations. Steve is starting to come off his damn rocker. We're going to hit that as well today. We have not forgotten about the March Movie Madness bracket. I am hoping to hit you with that on Friday. The first bracket that we will begin discussing. We are going to put the bracket out for public. PK, what do you mean answer my phone? You don't have my phone number, PK. Are you trying to call the show phone number? It's there, PK. PK, man, are you okay today? And now he calls here. All right, let's go to him again. PK, what's up, dude?
Hey, bad boy.
What's up, bad boy?
Bad boy breaking laws with your cell phone.
Right? Can you believe that?
You're such a bad boy over here, just texting and driving.
I wasn't. I was trying to follow the law. I was taking the phone from my leg to the holder at a red light.
What planet are you on right now? Because
you knew
drives.
Okay, you knew that you can't touch your phone at a red light. You knew that, PK?
I knew that when I lived in LA.
Okay. All right. Good enough. I didn't know that.
But everywhere else on the planet, everybody texts. Like if you look, let me tell you this. If you look at a car next to you, everyone's texting, right? Also, how do they know that you're texting?
I don't know. My windows are tinted. I was thinking the same thing. How did he even see me put my phone on the holder? And that was the funny part. I'm like, I asked the officer, I'm like, you saw me just grab my phone and put it on the holder. That's all
Yeah.
I did at the red light. He's like, yeah, you can't do that.
You could be easily like eating French fries. You have
So
no idea. Like an officer, like, how do you know that I'm using my phone inside of a car? Just because I look down or something? I don't know. Where were you at?
I'm not gonna tell you where I was at.
Man, you're on Mars.
I'm a what?
You're on Mars.
A Mars? Okay.
Yeah.
Where are
You're
you
just
at,
traveling.
P? Where are
You're
you at,
traveling around.
PK? Where are
You're
you
just
at?
traveling around.
Where are you at, bro?
Right now I'm in Atlanta, about to go to Mexico for work.
You're just traveling around too. You were in New
Yeah.
York a little bit ago.
Yeah.
You're going to
Yep.
Mexico for work?
Yep.
Is your work legal?
Yes. I'm
Okay.
not. I'm not a drug dealer, bro.
Just
Yes,
giving you a hard time.
it's legit. It's legit.
Good stuff.
No, but I want to say something, Ryan. I was like thinking about the game yesterday and this season in general. Um, you're so like first of all, you and Grant, congratulations. You guys have done a really good job bringing this Kings community together this year.
Appreciate that.
I think you guys are doing a fantastic job. I think you guys are like moth to a light. Um,
Thank
and
you.
but in general, as far as it comes down to the Kings, there's ups and downs, and you remember when me and Grant had this little rant when I went off on Grant, and I was like, you don't know what this team is, and then Grant got mad at me and did the Grant rant, and then everyone freaking hated me.
Nobody's ever hated you. You
Get
are okay.
Dude, when Grant did that rant, everybody freaking, oh my god! I was like,
Okay, let
holy
me say this really quick, dude. You are probably, and this is my third season of doing Kings games with Grant. You are probably the most polarizing character that I have ever seen always come up in the chat. And Baki
yeah.
gets a lot of run. He's got a Baki's microwave account out there that somebody's made up, but like people are like PK, PK, PK.
No,
So
I mean, but I'm just me, like I'm always just me. But what I was gonna say is like this team, whatever the hell this team is, I love it, and I think the fans love it. I saw some since JV and Sabonis, those are like my brothers, and especially JV. Like I said on the chat with Grant, what JV said was so crucial to me. He goes, we cannot, we're all new here and we're plug and play in this team, new coach, new systems, new sets. But he goes, we just need to adjust one thing, every single game, one little thing. And I think that's what they're doing. And I think like like Ryan, you're really good with stats and lineups, but none of this, no stats matter with Kings because we don't know what the ceiling is for this team. We in reality, we have no clue what this is. Like once they have chemistry, we don't know how good these guys are like in reality.
well, okay, let me kick it back to you. What's the sample size that you need to see that at least gives you a general idea of what you can expect on a normal night?
I want every single game. I want one good thing to happen. Whether it's a loss, whether it's a win, just one good thing. So whether it's turnovers less, whether it's Zach going off, whether they're learning to go down to JV more, whether they learn to give Keon the ball running up the court more, some just a one just one little thing. Just I don't want a drastic change. Just like keep it simple and like Christy says, and just sort of like one game at a time situation.
Oh, 100. Yeah, absolutely.
You
With
know,
this
not
bad
not
luck.
like because sometimes like I see like Kings fans see like Valanciunas is taking off. They're like, hey, trade Sabonis.
Yeah, but that's okay. That is a very small subsect of this fan base. And
Yeah.
I can speak to that because I come up with Grant every single game for these post game shows, and
Right.
there is always like a 4 to 5% tile of the fan base that tunes in that if somebody has a bad game, trade them, get them out of here. Somebody has a good
Right.
game
Right. Right.
that is replacing another
Every time you
player,
have
we
someone
don't need
good,
that player
trade them.
anymore. Yeah, 100%. So
Yeah.
I don't think most Kings fans are like that. There's just, and you know what I attribute that to? I think that small percentage has probably got action on the game. And that's why you're seeing that type of response.
And you know what? And there's what's also amazing is like you guys are doing so well, you and Grant, is that there's so many fans from other teams that are coming to the chat. They're coming to the calls and stuff like
Yeah,
that
for
as
sure. We
well,
appreciate it. We appreciate the support.
which is like unreal. And Grant said it right the other day. He's like, hey, you guys don't have anybody on your chat, so you come to my chat where everyone's listening to me.
Yeah, that was pretty good. That was pretty good.
He's like, Grant goes, he's like, I have 120 people listening to me right now, and you guys have nobody to go to.
Yep.
But
Yep.
but yeah.
Hey,
Anyway,
hey, brother, I appreciate the
hey,
call. Make sure that you don't use your fake ID at the airport to go to Mexico, and have safe travels.
yeah, and you know what? Hey, be a good boy, Ryan.
Yeah, I'll try not to get pulled over anymore.
Yeah. Don't use a phone. Use I don't know.
Okay, you and I could have a parliamentary debate over this. I wasn't using my phone. I was moving my phone.
Hey,
But
you know
apparently
what?
you
Hey,
can't even do
police.
that. I
Hey,
know.
tell that to the cops.
Yep, I hear you. I hear you.
All
Thanks,
right, love
PK.
you, buddy.
You too, buddy. Be well. Good stuff from PK. One number that I want to point your attention to right here is this one right there. The number 20 3-point attempts. The Kings just a couple of games ago, that number was 22. So that means the Kings they give up the 10th most 3-pointers to their opponents. I have said all season, if you're gonna be bad at guarding the 3-point line, then it is what it is. It's gonna be 29th. It's gonna be 30th. I can live with it. What I can't live with is that number being anywhere. 20 is too high. But when it's at 25, 26, 27, that is a problem. But the Kings are driving teams off of the 3-point line a little bit. I like it. We'll talk about it more here in a few minutes. Good call by PK. Appreciate him chiming in. Y'all can hop in too and call the show. Would love to hear from you. All you got to do is hit the link right there that I just put back into the chat. You can also call 916-822-9485, I believe it is. Let's get that up. I don't want to give you my number because I know that I am destined to do that at some point. There you go. Yep, 916-822-9485. You can call that one as well. A couple of things that PK is talking about. And I want to talk about this really quick before we really dive any more into the Dallas game. Here's your standings right here as we sit. The West is you're going to be a game from the play-in and 2 games from being in the playoffs the rest of the way. It's just how it's shaking out. But we're starting to see some separation with certain teams and some anticipated separation based on scheduling, based off of, and PK says you can't go off stats. I don't disagree with him. Grant doesn't go off stats. Grant goes off the eye test. And I try to land somewhere in the middle. I'm not over analytic crazy, but I definitely think there's something to different statistical categories that are more important than others. But with the eye test, like Minnesota, they're starting to get it together. And they're going to be probably winning a decent amount of games because they have the easiest schedule coming home in the Western Conference. Dallas going the other way. There's just no other way to put it. Now, there's the Clippers. There's Phoenix. There's Golden State. I want to talk to you about them here in a second. But first, we are going to go to my man, Corn Dog. What's up, Corny?
Dude, we are playing great right now. We got 4-game win streak, which is the tied for second currently in the West with OKC. Lakers have a 6, but that's pretty good to start off, from post All-Star break.
Yeah, 100%. I said 5-2. You had to go out of the All-Star break. The Beam team year, they also started out really good after the All-Star break. They've won 7 of 9, and actually even coming into the break, they had won 3 of 4. It was just that last loss to New Orleans that really stuck out. So they were winning ugly before the break too.
Honestly, like right before the trade deadline and stuff, we were literally getting a whole new team.
100%. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, that's that again, New Orleans was a team we beat fairly easily this year compared to last year, and we were just building an entirely new team to gel. So they got us at a great time to get that last victory over us before that break. But they had the break. DeRozan and Zach LaVine look like they've picked up exactly where they left off in Chicago. And maybe Zach LaVine brought the Kings some Chicago pizza or something, because they're playing great.
Yeah, the sets have changed noticeably. The stuff that they're running, and I kind of laid it out yesterday, and it played out again last night. Doug Christie is almost forced to run a different style of offense with Sabonis not in the lineup, and I happen to think that style of offense actually benefits everybody much better. It plays more towards your strengths, because guess who's getting around right now? It's Keegan Murray. Yeah. He's been a missing element all year. And Trey Lyles, although he's not playing a ton of minutes, man, he has had great minutes ever since he started going in and out of the lineup. So something to it, man. There's something to it, but they're going to know here in the next 3 weeks. The schedule is brutal.
And honestly, Valanciunas has been great at that sub center that we needed desperately.
Yes, I agree with you. The only knock on him is, can he stay out of foul trouble? That is the only thing you worry about, because the Kings will be in a deep hole going forward with Sabonis out if he gets in foul trouble.
You know what? I can live with that. If that's my biggest problem with my big man, I can live with that.
For sure.
That's nothing, especially with how they call fouls these days.
Yeah, for sure. Corn Dog's like, whoa! Yeah, I got you, brother. Anything really quick on the combine? I know that you're watching that stuff closely.
Oh, okay. So Tez Johnson, I know everyone's looking at his 40 time being slower than what they projected. Look at his cone drill. He had the fastest cone drill in the combine. And that's what he was in college. He was a very shifty type of guy that was very good at keeping his speed on routes when he makes quick cuts. So he may not have that initial track speed that you that's that big sexy 40 time number. But how many times have the Raiders and other teams fallen for that and they've had a receiver that really can't do it? Tez Johnson isn't, just run straight. He's a very quick, shifty guy like a Tyreek Hill. So I think, if his draft stock has fallen because of his 40 and they're missing that cone drill, I think, he's going to be a good, like a second, like second or third receiver on a playoff team that can pick him up in those later rounds.
And I say yes, it was. I want to see what you say. Was a 5th round pick good for Debo?
He's an aging guy, expensive guy. Maybe a 4th or 3rd, but I'm fine with the 5th. Debo's had injury issues as well, so you got to clear that cap space as well because you got to pay Purdy soon. That you just have to. You have a lot of cap at other spots too, and honestly, there's tons of receivers coming out of the drafts every year. There's lots of great help. The college already has, Ryan Williams and Jeremiah Smith who are projected to be first rounders, even if they went out today and they were true freshmen.
Right.
So there's tons of receivers. Like, it's okay. He did good for you guys. You guys got some playoff runs with him, but this is roster management and you got to pay the quarterback.
Yeah, and you saw that the Jets had to release Devontae Adams because nobody's going to trade for that contract at his age. So I think the fact that the Niners got a 5th with Debo's everything you laid out, injury issues, the contract number, I think you don't like that it went to the Commanders, who are also in your division, or in your conference, excuse me. But
I think that honestly that hurts the Eagles more than it hurts the Niners.
Yeah, that's a good point too. Saquon got paid today, highest paid running back in the history of the NFL. So good for him. He deserved it.
Also, one more thing on the combine is the safety from South Carolina, Nick Emmanuel, is a freak of nature. I don't know if any of you guys seen. Go find the clip of his combine. They've sliced it up already. He is 6'3", 220, and he ran a 4.38 40 and had a 43-inch vertical and an 11.5 broad jump.
What position does he play? Safety. Oh, that's a safety. Oh my gosh.
6'3", 220, 4.38 40, 43-inch vert and an 11.5 broad jump. It's like if DK Metcalf was safety.
I can't fathom what football players are going to look like by the time my son has kids and I'm a grandfather. They're going to look like these AI wrestlers that people are like typing up and then putting next to. It's just incredible. They just get bigger. They get faster. They get stronger. And like, it's going to happen at some point. Something bad's going to happen on the football field. It almost happened with DeMar Hamlin.
We got linebackers running 4.5s.
It's holy crap, man.
260 plus guy, like that's a freight train hitting you.
Holy crap. Well, we will keep plugged in with you through all the combine stuff and college football.
Yeah, I'm keeping up with a lot of mock drafts from different sources. Like I do, Mel Kiper's one of my guys. He invented the job. But yeah, there's other guys that I follow as well, and I take a look and see because they have inside connections to NFL teams and stuff. So
for sure. All right, man. Well, I appreciate the call.
All right, man. Let's go Kings.
Indeed. Give Grant a call later tonight. He'll be back on at 7. Good stuff by Corn Dog. Grant's going to get on me for this. Last night, I forgot who called, and he meant to say smart, and he said shart. And I almost lost it on the air. I was about that close from losing it. Grant normally doesn't make those mistakes, and I don't think Grant knows what he said either. It was just a really funny moment. Anyways, and I bring it up because anytime Corn Dog calls Grant, He will not say corn dog. He won't do it, even though Grant is the one that glossed him corn dog. Grant doesn't even realize that he did that either. So good stuff there. Here's a fun little segue back to the Kings. So this is from the Kings media team. And I thought it was a pretty funny question. So I'm going to pose it to everybody here as well. The Kings media team on the way to shoot around yesterday asked the guys, when you go to the gas station, what are the things that you got to pick up? What are you getting when you hit the aisles of the gas station? This is compliments of Kings media. This is what some of the players had to say.
Out of the gas station, what you grab? Sunflower seeds or blue Gatorade? Water.
What are you getting, though? I don't know what I'm getting. Water?
I gotta think about it.
Yeah.
I will drink something.
Coffee.
Water. Water. The nerds, the little small nerds, gummy things, fruit snacks, purple Skittles. Some Welch's in the Gatorade for sure. So I don't know what else, but that will be grabbed.
The lottery. Oh, you guys like that.
That's Leandro Barbosa, by the way.
Lottery.
Reese's peanut butter cups, Arizona, iced tea, and some chips.
Lottery. You see how, look at me. You see how much money is in the lottery? Yes, that's what I would get.
Probably some sunflower seeds, big body armor, get some Skittles, a gallon of water, and maybe a slushie. Grabbing a slushie.
You feel me?
Yes.
Right. Get that money. Yes. Try my lucky day.
Doritos, gummy bears.
Gatorade, Mountain Dew Voltage for sure, some type of sour candy, Sour Patch Kids, something like that, and like a honey bun or something.
So I thought that was pretty funny. So what do you grab when you go to the gas station? Now, if I was there for Trey and I forget who else said a slushie, you got to draw the line between those two because there's ices and then there's, I believe it's like the slush puppies. Those are hard to find. Those are much different than the ices. So you got to draw the line between those two. Ices are everywhere. The slush puppies, those are very, very hard to find. Tristan's getting a corn dog. I am always so hesitant to grab anything that's heated like that at a gas station, unless it's like one of those gas stations that's got a restaurant inside of it. That's a little bit different. Yeah, dude, I'm all about the Old Trapper. Love the Old Trapper beef jerky. That is good stuff. It's funny, Haxo Bar, my son keeps telling me that Red Bull, they're liars because they don't give you wings. And so I've continually had to explain to him you don't actually get wings, son. You get a caffeine boost. It's a stimulant. But yes, Red Bull in there. I think, in the sunflower seeds, that's another debate. There's the Jumbo brand, and then there's that other brand. I never remember what the brand's name is, but they have that ranch flavor that's the best ranch flavor of all time. So good job by the Kings there with their media team. I think sometimes the little stuff like that is fun to hit indeed. But I did tell you, going back to the schedule, that I think 4 of the 6 next games are probably more important than maybe I would say most of the games that the Kings play in their Murderers Row homestand. So there's the standings. We've talked about them a little bit, and I agree with many of you that are saying it's crazy that the Kings are already in the neighborhood of the Timberwolves, that they're by the Clippers, Golden State, etc. So here is the actual schedule. And here is why I think the next 4 or out of the next 6 games, 4 to me are crazy important. And it's because you are having head-to-head meetings with the teams that you are directly in competition with for that 6th seed and for those play-in spots. And when it comes to the Warriors, the tiebreaker, how important is that going to be? You have 2 games against the Clippers. Well, you have 1 game against the Clippers. You've got you've got Denver, which I don't actually classify as important. Here's the 4 that I classify as important. San Antonio. You know why San Antonio is important? It's not important to the standings in terms of a head-to-head battle. San Antonio is not in contention, and nor do I think they will be in contention. If anybody's going to sneak up, it might be Portland, who's half a game back right now of the play-in. But mentally, for this basketball team, for this fan base, that is such a big momentum game. It matters whether you want to acknowledge it or not.
Acknowledge me.
De'Aaron Fox coming back to Sacramento and the Kings getting that dub, it matters. It also propels you in to a game against the Clippers, a team the Kings have not matched up with very well at all. So I mark that Clippers game as the second most important game, or one of the most important games, one of the 4 most important in that 6-game stretch. Golden State, we hit briefly on, and then Phoenix. Phoenix is so important. Phoenix did this dance last year. Where are they going to be in? Are they going to be out? They're not that good. Oh, they're good again. They don't care. Oh, actually, it looks like they care now. And you know what they did? They came back on the Kings twice after the All-Star break. And you could make an argument that those 2 games cost the Kings a 7-game series. So we know Phoenix is a hot mess. They are a dumpster fire rolling down the street with a cell phone in its hand and a motorcycle cop chasing it. That's what they are right now. But they still have Kevin Durant. They still have Devin Booker. They still have, to a degree, Bradley Beal. He can play a little bit. Not at what he's paid. Not at that level. But he can play. And when you've got 2 of those 3 guys, anything can happen in a night. You cannot lose that Phoenix game. In fact, I would say in importance, it's Golden State, Phoenix, Clippers, and then San Antonio. Maybe San Antonio before the Clippers. So where do you come out on that? I really think how the Kings do in those 6 games before they come back home, it's so important. I'm not including Denver in there, but the head-to-head matchups with the teams that they're directly competing against right now, that is a full game in the standings. A full game. Kind of like 2 games, to be honest with you. So where do you come out on that? We are still talking about last night, Kings and the Dallas Mavericks. If you are just joining us, up next is the Denver Nuggets. Jason Anderson coming out with a report that most notably Jokic is listed as questionable for tomorrow night. Aaron Gordon as well. Do you think this is a game the Kings can pick up? There was a big discussion last night between, I believe it was Dirk and Grant, about the Kings and how they played Denver in the past. And Grant made the argument, well, Denver really didn't have that many people, or they didn't have everybody with them. And, Murray was out and this happened. Gordon was out. So I don't really count it. But if you look back at the games with the Kings and the Nuggets, outside of this last one, and I know the score looks closer than it actually was, the Kings and the Nuggets have played very competitive games. And this only goes back to last season. Remember the Beam Team year? You remember when Sabonis suffered the avulsion fracture and then he missed the first Denver game in Sacramento, but he came back after missing that game and they came back on Denver and won that one. I think the Kings play really gritty games for the most part with Denver, and I'm very interested in what happens tomorrow night because confidence is at an all-time high for this group as we know it. PK talked about the group being completely different, and they are. So I actually lean a little bit more towards Dirk because every team always has somebody that's out or somebody that's dealing with something. So I'm not going to judge the Kings wins, especially when it's a Michael Malone coach team that cannot stand this owner in this franchise. Any win against that team's a good win, but we have not seen, because usually Jokic and Sabonis, it's like two supernovas colliding. They usually canceled each other out. The last meeting, not so much. Jokic had his way last meeting against Sabonis, but typically those two kind of cancel each other out. So where do you come out? Do the Kings get this one and go 4-0 on this trip? Incredible to think about that they may go 4-0. Here was Doug Christie after last night's game.
Hello, everybody. You got it, man. For us, hopefully, everybody, Kai and everybody over there is okay, first and foremost. You hate to see guys go down. So a lot of love to everybody over on that side of the locker room. For us, a professional win is kind of how I put it. A lot of times we have taken our foot off the gas sometimes when people have gone down or whatever. And to the guys' credit, they came out in the third quarter and really played a good defensive game, which is more important to me than, making shots and all this. We want to do that, obviously, but there's a side of the floor that's going to help us in the long run. So really, really proud of that as they continue to solidify their identity. Yeah.
What can you take from this recent run you're on, including tonight, that you can apply to, a tough game like Wednesday and the other tough games you guys have coming up on the schedule?
That defensively is where we need to continue to improve and hang our hat. And you're going to go through this league, you're going to win some, you're going to lose some, but the point of what we're trying to do is continue to work on us. Like the opponent is going to be the opponent. Sometimes you're going to run into a team that is top 2 in the West, and then you'll run into somebody who's, bottom 10 in the Eastern Conference. For us at this point where we're at, it's not about the opponent. It's about how we go at the game, how we digest what we're doing, how we look at rotations, and are we doing all the things? Are we playing the right way on both ends of the court? And when I look down and see 34 assists, that makes me smile because they know that I want them to move the basketball and share it and trust each other that when you get off the ball, it's going to come back to you. So for me, it's more about us than it is about anything.
And all that being said, the standings are the standings, and you're getting to that point in the year when there's so many teams bunched up right around that 60. Is that something that's communicated at all? Are you looking at it, or how do you sort of view circumstances teams in?
I don't. I kind of know because people send it, but I haven't brought that up to them because the thing that I did say to them is how we play, how hard we play, how well we play together. The byproduct of that will take care of that. And that's the mindset that we have is we play, we move forward, we have blinders. Like, listen, if we move up in the standings, great. If we lose some, we still focus on us, and the byproduct of us focusing on us will hopefully be W's, and that's the plan.
And I know you're kind of.
So interesting comment here, Daniel. We're going to get to that in 1 second, I think. And there's a couple of really interesting comments that I want to talk about and a couple of really stupid comments too, especially this one. Really? Have the Blazers caught the Kings in the standings? That's your first contribution to the show?
Not so fast, midget. Not so fast.
Midget?
Yeah, little guy.
Come on, little guy. You got to do better than that, horse. I get that you're a Blazers homer. Actually, can Horse even name me 5 Blazers? I don't know if he can. Anyways, let's get back to a couple of these comments. These are really good, and let's discuss it. Daniel says he's not bought into the win streak. We need to prove it against good teams, but if we can get the number 6 seed or even the number 7, no team is scary. 2-7 in a 7-game series. Interesting take, Daniel. Let's look at that. No team is scary between 2 and 7. Right now, 2-7. I don't want to see the Lakers. And there's a comment about the Lakers that I'm going to get to in a second. I don't want to see the Lakers. The Lakers right now are scary to me. I said it last time, Grant and Jerry agreed with it. It is the first time that I have ever seen LeBron James playing with somebody where it appears that LeBron plays with them as an equal and not as a lesser. Some of the passes and opportunities that are opening up for pure shooters, and I know Reeves is dinged up, but look at Dalton Connect's numbers as of late. Luka is getting them better shots. And JJ Redick said it the other night, and he's right. Teams are dead, literally dead, if you go into the drop against us, which means helping off, helping down. You can't give those passing lanes up because Luka already needs the narrowest of gaps to get a ball in there. And you watch the Kings pass the ball around like nights like last night, 34 assists, really good stuff. Really good, crisp passes, hitting guys in their preferred spot. That's what Luka's doing 24/7 right now with the Lakers. The ball is delivered perfectly. The seams are lined up. It couldn't be passed better out of a machine. So the Lakers are scary to me. And I think JJ Redick, to the other comment that's in the chat, 100% agree. He has done an incredible job this year with the Lakers. Incredible. So I'm scared of them. Denver, I'm scared of too. I shouldn't say scared. I am concerned about Denver. Memphis, the Kings don't match up well at all with Memphis. They don't. They have not played Memphis well. Houston, I'm with you. I'm not scared of Houston. The Clippers, I don't like the Clippers whatsoever. The Clippers, I probably put number 2 behind the Lakers in this group that I am the most concerned about. And by the way, this was the Clippers that we saw without Kawhi Leonard, who is healthy and playing. That didn't have Ben Simmons. You're going to see him in a couple of days. So I don't like that matchup either. Golden State, look, all bets are off when it's Golden State. So I get what you're saying. There's really no matchups there. If what you're trying to say by scary is there's not a matchup there that makes you feel like there isn't a chance for the Kings. Looking at 2-7, if they can get there, and that's the big hypothetical, maybe outside of the Lakers.
So you're telling me there's a chance? Yeah!
I can get down with Lloyd Christmas's thinking there. Maybe outside of the Lakers as they're playing right now and assuming that they are healthy. Let's go to the phones. Andy, what's up, man?
What's up, Brian? How you doing?
Good. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Honestly, not too much to touch on. I just saw this stat last night, and I think it just really spoke to how much of an impact player Keon Ellis is. I believe it was the Kings are 13-4 when Keon Ellis plays 27 plus minutes.
28. Yeah.
28 plus minutes. And I just thought, like, you know, I'm just thinking, like, is it as simple as just play Keon Ellis 30 minutes, take the minutes from elsewhere, and just having him or Keegan Murray on the floor at all times to guard their primary ball handler, I think that does just wonders for our defense. And when you look at the numbers, I think on Basketball Reference, the Kings are 15th in defensive efficiency now, which is, I mean,
Right.
that's for the Kings. I mean, that's pretty good, especially with our offense being close to that top 5. I think it's 7th.
Yeah, if you're watching the show right now, Andy, I've got Basketball Reference up. The number that I am looking at the most out of all of the defensive numbers, I've given up on the 3-point percentage. It's going to be 29th or 30th in the NBA. It's just going to be what it's going to be. But the attempts, to me, that is the most important defensive number to look at with this Kings team. Usually last season, even at times this season, it was 26, 27. Just a couple of days ago, it was 22. Now it's down to 20. As that number comes down, the better this defense is going to be, and the higher that defensive rating is going to go up.
Well, when I watch these last couple games, albeit, against depleted teams or teams that aren't that good, I feel like our perimeter defenders are much more like on a string now. Like
Yes.
it just looks a little bit more fluid, like they're building chemistry. There's not as many wide open, spray threes for the other team, which I think is good. Also, like in the All-Star break, you were on here, and one of the questions that someone asked was like, who's the biggest, person that's going to be most responsible for the Kings' success post All-Star break? And I think you guys agreed that it was going to be Keegan Murray,
Yes.
which I do agree with. And you could tell just by him being aggressive, his 3-point percentage trending upwards the last month, how much of a difference it makes. But I can honestly make the argument for Zach LaVine too, just because, like, I just see a huge difference when we have an efficient Zach LaVine that's shooting 40% from 3, how much that opens up the floor, how much more pressure that takes off of Malik Monk to just play make. And also, like, if you have DeRozan and LaVine on the floor at one time, you know, one of those guys, like, they can't double both of them if one of them is, if both of them are going. So one of them is bound to have a favorable matchup at all times.
Yeah, I don't disagree about the matchups and how you have to guard. I don't see teams shading as much to Zach LaVine, at least not yet in Sacramento. I here's my thing with LaVine that I'm still trying to figure out, Andy. The basketball IQ, that is bothering me a little bit still. There is
Yeah.
still a couple of turnovers a game that are just mindless, elementary, telegraphed. Like, I don't want to disrespect Zach and say like middle school, but turnovers that just don't happen for NBA All Stars should not happen consistently. And it's gotten better as more time has gone on, but it's still there to a degree. Here's the second thing about Zach that I'm still not sure how to navigate. There's many times, in my opinion, he is passing up a better shot for a worse shot. He
Yeah.
has the talent sometimes to make those shots. In fact, there was one last night where he had a wide open baseline jumper and he passed it up for the step back fadeaway where he does that big hop back and he made the shot. It was pure, it was nice. But in the playoffs, when you start seeing the teams like the Bostons and the Oklahoma Cities and the Bucks, that you've got to take the wide open shot. And so I get NBA players have spots that they try to get to. That is what they base their games around. So maybe that's a better shot for him, but basketball wise, it's backwards. It's backwards. It's not how it usually works. So that's what I'm trying to navigate. To your point about the defense, Andy, the communication has been off the freaking charts the last 2 games in Houston and then in Denver or in Dallas. You could audibly hear on the telecast these guys communicating. And I've got a screenshot up of the third quarter last night right now on the whiteboard. And this is what's important to me. One, the positioning of everybody is great right now. This is where you want to be positioned based off of where guys are on the floor and who you're guarding. Maybe you don't want Valanciunas out that far. That might be the only thing. But look at Keegan Murray right here on Klay Thompson. That's not a situation where Klay Thompson was just past the ball there. Keegan had been guarding him around and he got him to pick up the ball. And this is one of those spots that you never, ever, ever want to pick up the basketball. And here's what's most important. Look at Keegan's hands. They're up. They're defending. He's making that pass nearly impossible. And what that did was that opened up, because this is literally your only play, and that opened up a wide open steal for Keon Ellis. So to say that they've been on a string in communicating and there's more cohesiveness defensively, they absolutely have. But they've got to continue, even if you don't have a guy like Klay Thompson in a spot like this, they got to keep getting their hands up defensively. The guards on the perimeter are not keeping their hands up enough. They need to get the deflections up. Maybe there's going to still get the entry passes, but you've got to make the entry passes harder than they are. But to their credit, Andy, they've done it the last 2 games.
Yeah, I agree 100% with everything you said. With the Zach LaVine thing, I mean, yeah, the same thing I noticed. Like a lot of plays, he'll just run and jump up in the air with nowhere to go. And he's either going to travel or he's going to throw the ball to someone that's not open, and it usually results in a turnover. That's like you said, elementary school. Like, you don't just jump in the air with nowhere to go. Also, although I think a lot of people give Jonas Valanciunas a lot of crap for not being like a, elite defender, a rim protector, I honestly feel like when he's in the paint, I don't know if it's maybe like an intimidation thing because how much bigger than Sabonis he is, but I've noticed when he's on the court, like the rim pressure that these other teams are putting on us is like a lot less significant. Like I feel like it's not a layup line when he's out there.
So if we're going to talk about bigs, we got to put Athena up, because Athena has been screaming from the rooftops for a second big. Yeah. Valanciunas does a pretty good job of staying vertical, but you hit on the most important thing. He is a bigger body than Domas. Just quite simply, he takes up more space. And so it throws off spacing a little bit more for offensive teams. But more importantly, on the offensive end, it's opening up a different world for some of the guards. So normally on this, what we're looking at right now was a Kings fast break. I know it looks like a half court set. It wasn't. This was Monk coming up and then just pulling up for a second. But this is what we saw all night long, was on the fast breaks, Valanciunas immediately getting to the paint and sealing off his guy, which was resulting either in a pass and a layup or free throws, or more importantly, if that passing angle wasn't there, the Kings didn't force a bad pass, something that they've done since the trade. So that was a plus. But Valanciunas' size, he's a smart enough player, and Domas does this too, but Valanciunas is more effective at it because of his size. He knows Malik's taking this guy off the dribble, taking Dinwiddie off the dribble. So Valanciunas just kind of gets in his way. He indirectly screens him. He just kind of ghost shadows wherever that guy goes and blocks him off and out of the play so Malik can get straight to the hoop. And so that's why watching Valanciunas with the starters makes this so difficult, or not difficult, but so different. And actually, for me, it's one of the more excited times that I can remember as a Kings fan, because it's opening up a different type of offense than what the Kings have been running the last 3 years under the Beam team. Like, the scouting report for the Kings has hardly changed, Andy. And so now it has to change, and there's a lot more ball movement. And back to who's going to be the X factor, it's not a coincidence. Keegan Murray is kicking into gear and being more aggressive because he's more involved.
I agree 100%. And also what I noticed too, like, obviously when Sabonis is on the court in the half court setting, they always run the ball through him a
Right.
lot with the DHO and stuff.
Right.
And although it does work and has worked, I feel like sometimes it's too saturated. Like, you can't run the DHO every single time down and, not expect another NBA team to kind of figure out what it is that you're doing and stop you. So with Valanciunas, I feel like not only can he do a DHO if needed, but he also gets these seal offs. And then, like you said, kind of like sets a screen with his body, just like kind of clearing someone out of the way if someone like Malik or Zach takes someone off the dribble. He's gonna push that guy with his butt out of the paint and make more room in the paint for them to drive.
You freaking hit the nail on the head. That is exactly what you said at the beginning is exactly what excites me. You can't do as much DHO with Valanciunas. If Sabonis is on the floor, Doug said it as recently as 2 games ago that we want to run the offense through Sabonis. And to me, that is a problem. If you are running the offense through Sabonis, although he is more than capable of running a decent offense, number one, you're going to be leaving guys out of the offense, i.e. Keegan Murray, even Keon Ellis at times will get lost in that shuffle. And it's only Levine, DeMar, and Sabonis for the most part. And then the second thing, and to me, the more important thing when you look at that is Sabonis thrives when he's under the hoop. When you're using him as a screener, put him closer to the area where he benefits the most, where he does his best work. And unfortunately, even though he can shoot the 3 ball, that's not where he does his best work. He does his best work in the paint. And that's why I got so excited when Malik started, because the Kings went to more pick and roll. And then magically, since Levine came, the Kings haven't been doing pick and roll. So you freaking nailed it about less DHO.
I do have one last point on the same thing that we just touched on. I noticed too that I kind of lost my train of thought here. We're talking about the Sabonis DHO. Oh yeah, when you're running too much DHO, like let's say it's primarily with Malik and Domas or it doesn't really matter who, but when you're running the DHO, Zach LaVine, Keegan Murray, they're just sitting in the corner, like not doing anything because Zach is not used to really playing off ball. Like Zach LaVine and DeMar both are people that need the ball in their hands to operate. So when you're running too much DHO, Zach LaVine, Keegan Murray, Keon Ellis, like you said, like it's hard for them to get involved.
Yep. I completely agree with you. And you've almost sacrificed Keegan Murray's offensive game because here's what's been confusing to me. It's no secret what you're saying. That's not a secret in the Kings building. But they still think that the better advantage is running the DHO with those 3 guys. The better advantage, instead of having the 5-man balanced basketball, giving up Keegan's offense to a degree, it's less important to have his offense than to actually, you know what I'm trying to say. Sorry, I'm not doing a good job of summarizing it. But now you're in a position where you have to have his offense with Sabonis out. And you have to, by the way, respect the Kings now. If you're doing a scouting report, you don't know exactly what's going to be coming at you, because the Kings don't always know what's going to be coming, what they're going to throw at teams. But at least if there's a base set around what they're doing, which we saw starting in the Charlotte game, and we're seeing continue over with Sabonis off the floor, everybody's a threat, which means the defense is on its heels. The defense was never on its heels with the DHO past the Beam Team year. They just weren't.
Yep, I totally agree with you, Ryan. Well, we'll see what happens against the Nuggets. I think they're going to be without Aaron Gordon, which is huge. I mean, I'm not entirely sure. I know he's missed like the last few games, I believe.
Yeah, he's listed as questionable. Jokic is listed as questionable as well for tomorrow.
Wow. Okay. Well, maybe we'll get some injury luck. Maybe they'll both be out. Who knows? We need this win, though.
Here's the other thing. This is Denver's first game back from an East Coast road trip. So there is something to catching a team back on the first home game after a road trip like that. Usually you come out a little bit sleepy because guys have been you've got a little bit. I'm not going to go Katie and everybody else with the time change, but there is the time change element. But more importantly, when you've been gone from your family for a week and a half, 2 weeks, it's your first time back. You've got other things that you're supposed to handle. You're seeing the kids. It's a lot of different being pulled other ways. So it helps the Kings more than it helps Denver. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I agree. And like you said, with the scouting report, I mean, they haven't played a starting five with Jonas Valanciunas in there, so we'll see what happens.
Well, they haven't played it against the Kings. They've played it against the Wizards and the Pelicans in the past, but with the Kings, it's a completely different set of cards.
Yeah,
So.
I agree.
Cool. All right, thanks. Good job, Andy. Well done, man. Andy literally set me up and led me into 3 or 4 different areas that I wanted to talk about. Well done, Andy. You're getting some love in the chat as well. Great call. Awesome call. Make the playoffs and fight for your life in the first round. That's all I can ask of this team, for sure. I mean, realistically, what was the ask of this team coming into the season? It was probably winning a playoff series. I think that would definitely, probably, if I had to summarize what I heard the most of from Kings fans, it was winning a playoff series. DeMar says Western Conference Finals. Of course, he's going to say something like that. You want to set the bar high, but Sabonis in JV is oil in vinegar. Well, what's interesting to me is what Doug Christie said. And again, it has been a roller coaster of a season for this team. But Doug Christie just flat out said the question that we've been asking the last week on this show: what is the Kings' identity? We haven't had the Kings. When I say had, we have not had an identity for this team. It wasn't 3-point shooting. Every team in the NBA is a 3-point shooting team. It's never been consistently defense. And by the way, talking about positive identities, not negatives. Don't hit me with the, inconsistent, this, that, and the other. Positive identities. When you are going to play the Sacramento Kings, A is going to happen. There really hasn't been one. And so Doug coming out and saying defense leads me to my next question. And Andy brought it up about Keon playing more minutes. What is the best defensive lineup for this team? It starts with Keon Ellis and Keegan Murray. Those are your 2 best defenders. Where does it go from there? From what I've seen with JV's in that mix. JV is very much in the mix of that lineup, I think. We haven't seen enough Markelle Fultz to know. I think there's a strong argument you could make about Trey Lyles. Jury is still out on Jake LaRavia. His offensive game, not so great right now. His offensive game is very rushed. For as aggressive as he is defensively, you can tell he's got that love for defense. It's not something you teach. You either have it or you don't. So I think that's great. But offensively, he is extremely limited. Extremely limited. So if the Kings and Doug, which kind of goes against in my point all along about the front office and the coach being on the same page, Monty came out on the radio not too long ago and said, well, offense, it's got to be offense. This team's got to do it offensively. Now Doug's saying defense. I just think it's got to be one or the other. And if I lean to one side, I probably lean more towards the defensive side. Because what gets the fan base going, especially in home games, what gets this team going is turning defense into offense. It's the transition game. It's the hustle game. It's the deflections. It's the tips. It's the 50-50 balls. It's taking charges. That is what, that is the tinder. That is the gasoline that fuels the Kings when they're at their best, and the fan base as well. So when you look at the lineups in Doug's rotations going forward, are we going to see more lineups that are geared towards defense if that's what he wants this team to be, a defensive team? I just think it's an interesting discussion. Let's listen to a little bit more of Doug from last night.
Alluding to it, but like some of the your record against teams above 500 is I think 11 and 19 or 11 and 18, something like that. And you guys are 10 games over against teams below 500. So I don't know, how do you improve and get to the point where that starts to level out, particularly with so many good teams coming in?
Well, it depends on how you're looking at it, as us as old us, or us as new us, or us as past trade deadline. There's a lot to your question. You can't just say, so I'm looking at this team, and that's why I put faceless opponents. Like, we're going to run into, Houston, really good ball club. We figure out how to make it happen. And if we didn't, did we play the right way? Did we play with force? Did we play with aggressiveness? Did they feel us the way that I want them to feel us? And that's the mindset. I know it sounds like whatever, but that's just how we have to address it, as we have made so many changes. There's so much going on. Guys are learning how to play together. Guys are learning nuances and tendencies and a lot of different things. And then I'm asking them to follow game plan.
Just stop, horse. Sit down.
Sit his ass down. Right now, Chuck. Sit him down.
Michael Vick smack. Michael Vick smack. Haunted horse. You know that Michael Vick paid his debt to society. You know, he's been an analyst for a national television station. You know, he's now a head football coach in college. And we're still getting Michael Vick smack. My goodness. Horse, man. You are like digging deep into your pockets. Like, you are going between the couch cushions right now, trying to find something. You are scrounging for takes. Funny ones. Can we do better than dog smack? Remember, this is a dog-friendly show. The King's Court has how many different dogs? We've got 7 or 8 different dogs. We've got Sea Dog. We've got Corn Dog. We've got CT Dog. We've got Dom Dog. We've got a lot of dogs here in the court, my man. And you're going with dog smack. Holy crap, little man. Jeez.
Not so fast, midget. Not so fast. Midget? Yeah, little guy.
Like, I don't even know where to go with that right now, Haunted Horse. I don't know where to go with that, dude. We're having this good conversation about basketball and Doug Christie, and we get dog smack. Michael Vick is my favorite player. I wear 7 all day. Look, for those that are talking about Devin Carter, yes, what's up, baby cakes? Defense is his calling card, but you can't have him on the court right now. He's not there. He's not ready. And you know what's so interesting to me? It really speaks to the levels to this and the difference between the G League and the NBA, the speed of the game, the size of the players. Go watch Devin play in Stockton. He's a different Devin Carter. His shot is not sped up. It doesn't feel like it's 100,000 feet in the air. It only feels like about 75,000 feet. Like, he's smooth in Stockton. He put up 34 the other night. He's comfortable in Stockton, but the NBA, look at how different it is. He needs more time in Stockton. I don't think Devin Carter is a viable option for this team the rest of the year. I think those minutes go to Markelle Fultz. And by the way, Markelle Fultz defensively, he's another guy that you have to think about when it comes to this team if it's going to be a defensive identity. His defense is pretty darn good. He's a smart basketball player who's made some stupid decisions with the basketball. And a lot of you have brought up some good points about Fultz really taking more shots, being a scorer rather than being an administrator, somebody that's setting other guys up. I think that's just part of getting used to playing with these guys. I also think that the guy has not played NBA basketball in a year, but I think the payoff of what you're going to get from Markelle Fultz in games where you are playing high-level opponents, whether it's 4 minutes like Doug has played him at times over the last 6 games, or let's last night, like 16 minutes, I think those are going to be really important minutes because he understands and physically he can guard some of those more powerful, more dominant guards on the perimeter. Now, I'm not saying he can lock down SGA. I'm not saying he can lock down Jalen Brunson. I'm saying he is better equipped than some of the other people on the roster to do so with his body and also his basketball mind. His basketball mind has never been a problem. He's had issues with his body. So how Doug plays him down the stretch is interesting to me. It's a lot of things still up in the air. And the fact that this team, again, a half a game out of the 6th seed, winners of 7 of their last 9, have guaranteed themselves a 3-1 road trip, and then have this next stretch coming up before that murderer's row of a home series is incredible to me. I'll go over again what I feel like are, because I think there's 4 games in the next 6 games that to me are nearly as important or almost more important than some of those games against the top teams in the NBA. And again, remember, it is a freaking buffet of playoff teams that the Kings are going to be facing here in the coming weeks. It is an absolute buffet. Not pictured the Milwaukee Bucks. All those different teams, some of them on the schedule multiple times. Let's kick it back to the phones. Alex, what's up, man?
What's going on, Rhino? How you doing?
Good. How you doing today?
Pretty good, pretty good. So I do want to talk a little bit about Kings. I called yesterday, but I don't know, for some reason, maybe it's on my end with mobile. When I call in without showing my camera, it refreshes every like 45 seconds. That's why it kept happening yesterday. So I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not sure why that does that. Maybe in the future for people that use mobile, that's what happens. But anyway, I did want to talk about Kings for sure. But I was gonna ask, because I know you like doing different things, and you and Grant like to just try to expand here and there and try different ideas, mainly more Fridays and stuff like that. But I'm a real big fan of Grant's, maybe not Grant's rant, the section in the show, but when he rants on fans, I love it. It's hilarious. It's one of my favorite things to do, to listen to. Yeah. So have you? I know you or Haunted Horse kind of messes with the show, or they produce the show, right? Yes.
I produce the show. Yeah.
You produce it, okay. Just an idea, maybe a little collectiveness or something of the best Grant's rant on the fans would be fantastic. I bet you would get all kinds of views on Twitter or here. Just like maybe best of Grant's rant on fans. I think it would be just because they're. I mean, I'm sure he goes hard on fans sometimes, calls them idiots and morons. It's just it's hilarious. It's hilarious, man. But anyway, just wanted to give that idea. I think it'd be funny. We'd all kind of like it. We'd enjoy it.
I like it. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. And I was talking to you about WWE yesterday before I left. But you just to kind of briefly hear your thoughts. I didn't yesterday and today. If you talked about it, sorry. But did you? So are you more back? Or I guess, are you liking the idea now of John Cody, or you still don't like it?
John, what the hell are you doing?
Okay, so I have to. I guess I'm a tainted. I don't know. That's not a good word. Haunted Horse is gonna have a field day with that. Oh my God, I can't believe I said that. I am not a good person to ask in this sense because it was spoiled for me. Because somebody put it in the chat of the post game show that Cena turned heel, so I knew it was coming. So I never.
That's terrible.
Yeah, so I never. And I warned.
Oh, that's terrible, dude.
I warned everybody the entire night.
God.
I said, do not put spoilers in the chat, and somebody did it. So I didn't get to see it from like that shocked.
The shock factor. You had no shock factor.
I was expecting it. Now, here's where I stand on it.
Wait, sorry, Ryan. Didn't somebody ruin the Rumble for you too?
Yes. That's why I made such a big deal about it. I know.
My God, dude.
Right?
Oh, I'm sorry, bro. On the behalf of the I'm not a troll fan, but on behalf of the troll fans, I apologize. That's terrible, bro. That's terrible.
I don't think that I don't think he watched the pregame show. I don't think he did it maliciously, but because the comment was, if not sure if anybody cares, but John Cena turned heel tonight. And I'm like thinking, you've got to be kidding me. Anyway.
But you know what though? That's not even a funny joke. Like, dude, it's like, what are you doing, bro? Like, that's not even a funny joke to do. Oh, by the way, that's not even funny, bro. Dude. Like, that's crazy.
Do you know how hard it is for me to do my job with a Kings game and stay off Twitter? Like, I had to stay off Twitter during that game.
Yeah,
I had done everything just right. Adam knew. Yeah, see. I can't do that. I cannot do that. This is far more important. And I have goals. And one of my goals was to do all 82 games this year. So I'm doing all 82. So back to the heel turn. I just don't like that The Rock I don't like The Rock is involved in it. That's the only part I don't like. Why did The Rock have to be involved? I think it could have been much better done. And again, I'm Monday morning quarterbacking it. If say Cody, by the way, Cody's line, amazing. Go
that was awesome.
Yourself. Oh, it was awesome. Yeah. One of the coolest moments that I've seen in a long time. Probably one of the coolest Cody moments ever. But then why not have Cena and Cody beat The Rock down, throw him out of the ring, right? And then, it looks like they do their little showdown, a mutual thing of respect. We're going to WrestleMania. And then Cena kicks him in the package. And now you're off to the races. Like, I just don't think The Rock element, having The Rock involved in it is so The Rock. And it just kind of bugs me. I don't know, Alex, but you got to see it with fresh eyes. How did it come off to you?
Bro, I was so shocked. I loved it. I loved every second of it.
Okay.
And here's the thing too. So I was watching both. I was actually watching three things at once. I had the boxing fight on. Tank Davis was fighting too. But the main screen I had on Elimination Chamber. My tablet, kind of like 10 inches, had the Kings game on, and then I had a smaller tablet with the Roach Tank Davis fight. So my attention, because Kings were winning decently, was on Elimination Chamber. So it was crazy. I did not expect that at all. But previously, I know before the heel turn stuff, you were really adamant about not doing Cody, Cena, and I was kind of arguing with you, like, bro, it's gonna be good, and you're like, no, you can't do two faces and all that stuff. But I mean, my whole thing about this, and I don't know if I even said it on the show before, is the past 2 years. Well, I think WWE always tries to do bigger and better every year, or they try to do that. Roman to me still is the biggest star in the company. Cody's up there now too. Aura wise, I don't think it's hard to match Roman's aura. They did that twice in a row, and now it's okay. Now, how do you go from the biggest aura to Cody, your biggest face, to now twice in a row to now what? John Cena's a giant name. That's why, to me, I'm like, if you're trying to do bigger, better, you got to throw Cena in there with Cody, because if not, what do? You know what I mean? I think they were kind of stuck in a corner, because who was he gonna face? CM Punk, maybe? That would have been cool, kind of too, I guess. But Cena retiring and how big he is, and I just think it made the most sense. And adding The Rock in there too, how big he is, I think it makes sense.
Alex, he's won the title 16 times. He's done everything in wrestling except be a heel. So it makes complete sense that you turn him heel. It shocks a lot of the people that like watch it honestly, right? They don't read the dirt sheets. They're not like checking spoilers. So I love a heel Cena versus Cody. I just don't like The Rock's involvement. I just think it's weird. It's why.
I like it because it adds more to the boss heel aspect of it. And even with people who were hating on Travis Scott in there, which was a little bit weird too, but it just shows that, The Rock has celebrity friends and it's cringy, and it adds more to the booze, I think, to the heel stuff, to me anyway, storytelling wise.
Okay, fair enough. Travis Scott very well may have a receipt coming his way.
He's gonna get clocked, bro. He's gonna get clocked.
Legit clocked Cody when he was down, and Cody has a black eye and reportedly a blown eardrum from it. If you go on X and watch, I mean, he cold clocks him.
Yeah. I was seeing that on Insta. I don't do X, but I do Instagram, and it's all over Instagram too. But yeah, no, that was nuts. I think you might have thought slightly different if you did go in there with that shock factor.
Yeah, for sure.
But again, I don't know. And I hate that you keep getting spoilers with that. We got to do something about that. Maybe, I don't know. You can't ignore the chat, I guess. I don't know what the solution is.
I'm just going to have to watch both at the same time.
You got to do it, man. You got to do it. But I know this is Kings. I didn't want to spend that much on WWE, but I didn't get to hear it yesterday, and obviously that's like the hot thing going on right now.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be great. Another thing too is when Cena started his Thugonomics character, he was heelish too during that time, but he's never turned heel. So I guess that's what's the big thing. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Little bit of Kings. I'm happy with what's going on right now. Obviously, they're getting a little bit of breaks, so I'm looking forward to see how they play against teams that aren't depleted, I guess, and checking out some of the comments.
Pre-record the post-game show. There you go, Adam. Got it.
Yeah, there you go. But I do like what I see. I even like what I see from Zach. I think Zach looks way more comfortable lately.
Yeah, I agree.
He looks way more comfortable. And again, I'm biased. I'm a huge Zach Levine fan, again, from the UCLA days. I like the fit with the team. And even if you go back against the Bulls, I don't know how many weeks or months ago that was, he looked like the best player on the court, even though we beat them with Fox. Levine was killing us. He was destroying us. And I think it's going to take time for him to find his rhythm, and I think he's finding it now. So I don't know. This team is just such a wild card to me because we don't know what it is really. It's okay, you fire your head coach, you trade your best player, quote unquote. And a lot of times when teams do that, I like to know the statistics, they probably are tanking. You're firing your, not even just a regular head coach, your coach that was unanimous head coach of the year 2 years ago. And you trade your best player, and you get a couple new players on the roster. You would think, that team is tanking, and now we're 4 games above 500. So it's just, to me, I think we should just be happy with what's going on and that we're even in the damn race, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, look, we're not gonna. That's what's kind of, I guess the Kings right now are the best reality television going because you've
Yeah.
got 22 games left, 21 games left. So we're not going to know. It's just going to unfold in front of your eyes. It's not like you've got half a season to play out. So that'll be cool, and we'll see what they do for sure. Appreciate you, Alex. But hey, by
Yeah,
the
man.
way, we are you. I don't know if you heard me earlier, but I have been in touch with AEW, and they are in town tomorrow night. We might have a special guest tomorrow from
Oh,
AEW.
interesting. That's,
Yeah, go
you know,
go
okay.
check out their show at the Memorial Auditorium tomorrow night. They're taping Dynamite. So
Hey,
all right, dude.
that's pretty awesome, man. Hey, also too, did you get rid of that Keon signature? I didn't get who won it or whatever.
Yeah, we had two winners.
Oh, nice.
That we had one person that was 2 points off, and another person that was 3 points off. So it was like Kings. I tweeted it out. You got to go to my Twitter to see who it was. So the person that was 2 points off, they're getting the stuff from Stockton. The person that was 3 points off, I'm going to send them a little Kings care package. So
Hey, well, congrats to them and congrats to you guys, man. You have a good.
Appreciate you, Alex. Good stuff. From Alex, love when he chips in. Haunted Horse, you just wish you had some hair, my man. Haunted Horse, just come home, bro. Shave the rest of it. Come home. Just be done with it, man. Come home. Let's get to a couple of chats, and we're gonna get to Tay. Grant was the closest. Yeah, he's not eligible though. I was telling you guys that when I talked about the contest. I said we all come so close. Like almost every game, one of us is in the ballpark, and we have no idea what either of us is going to say about what the score is going to be. But our scores are always close to each other. Rhino with Big Justice and AJ. Yeah, that one. Oh, dude, I hope I better know. No. I don't need Costco, dude. I don't need the Costco guy. That's funny. The basic thugonomics. Good job by you. Tristan, Top's dropping 1 of 1 auto card of Scott, Rock, and Cena. Of course they are. Okay, so there was a comment in here. Yeah, good job. About celebrities participating in the wrestling stuff. It's a really good point. I'm not a big fan of it either. Now, it didn't start. The precedent was set with you know who. Doesn't mean you have to carry it forward. I'm okay with it if they're going to continue performing. Like Logan Paul, this is now becoming a full-time thing for him apparently. But I'm with you. Why with Travis Scott? It's stupid. And I get that Travis Scott has been allegedly training at the performance center, but Travis Scott added nothing to it for me. Nothing. And by the way, he was smoking weed at one of the shows with Jay Uso. I think it was Saturday Night's Main Event on network TV. I'm not against marijuana, but I'm just saying WWE doesn't really want to probably roll that out there. So let's go really quick to Tay. What's up, Tay?
Hey Rhino, good afternoon. How you doing?
Good afternoon. Doing well. How you doing, buddy?
Good, good. Um, so obviously big game coming up tomorrow and Friday as well. Just want to turn to the game against the Spurs. First of
Yes.
all, we have to win that game, not because only Fox is coming back, but because of the standings and every game matters. But with Fox's return, my opinion is that we should definitely, and I don't know if the Sacramento Kings know what they're going to do, whether they're going to do a tribute video or not. I think there hasn't been anything from the organization, but I think they should do that because just so that they could take the high road. And my opinion is that, from Fox's perspective, the grass is greener on the other side. And I think it's natural when a star like Fox or any them to kind of say some weird things, take some, bash the old team here and there, say some weird stuff, unfollow his, all-star front court mate, Sabonis. But I think if you compare Fox's actions to other superstars' actions who demanded the trade on their way out, like Jimmy Butler, the way he goes, Leonard, the way he completely, came up dark with Spurs, AD, and I'm sure compared to that, I don't think what Fox did or is doing is anything comparable to High Road. Do like a quick 2-minute tribute video, and move on from this whole Fox saga. Turn the page on this. And I really hope Fox plays on Friday. The last thing I want to see is him DMP, because then it's gonna carry on to the next season. The whole, I don't think we could turn the page until then. I know Grant, you know, specifically stated that the Kings should not do a tribute video for the reasons he stated. But what's your whole take on this?
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I'm going to take it off the air, Tay, because I've only got about 9 minutes left in the show.
Sure,
It's a
sure.
great question. I appreciate you calling, and I'll give it to you right now. Thanks for picking us up today, brother.
All right.
Okay. So I mean this with all due respect. I really do. And please understand, and I get when you preface something like that, disrespect is usually coming. I truly believe that the Kings are going to target whatever they are doing at one group, and it's going to be the season ticket holders. I think the Kings' decision is largely going to be based around pleasing the season ticket holders, pleasing the sponsors, pleasing the people that fill their pockets the most. I am not disregarding the money that you take out of your pocket to sit in, that you work hard for, to sit in section 214 or maybe sit in row double A in section 104. I'm not disregarding it. You are just as important, but it's a business, and that's what businesses do. Now, as for what the Kings are going to do, I completely agree with Tay. I think they have no idea how to handle this right now. In fact, we talked about it earlier this week. They put that graphic up right there at the last home game against Charlotte. Now, what the Kings always do is the next home game, they're going to put a graphic up. The Kings didn't have to put a player along with the graphic. They easily could have just done Kings Spurs, Kings logo, Spurs logo. I think that was intentionally done to get a sampling of how the fan base would respond. And mind you, this was a blowout where the Kings were playing well and the fan base was in a really good mood. Here's how it sounded. So I respect Tay's point of view that De'Aaron didn't publicly ask for a trade. He didn't do some of the things that Jimmy Butler's done. However, I will say the entire story is not all out there. Grant and I have been very open about what we have been told from, and Grant and I have different sources. And Grant is not one of my sources, by the way. We have completely different sources. And so we've kind of put bits and pieces out there, but we've not stirred the pot. And when I say stir the pot, I'm not also trying to make you presume or believe that there's this big thing that you guys are going to find out. But there's two sides to each story. And I thought Grant's rant about De'Aaron, how he handled himself, and then even my follow-up comments to it were very direct to you, saying as much as we feel comfortable saying right now, because really it's not the time and the place. What's the point? You're sitting here trying to make a playoff run. So, all that in mind, if I was the Kings, if you're going to do a tribute video, it would not be before the warm-up clock runs out. It would be during that time. It would maybe be around the 3-minute, 2-minute mark while the guys are still like right towards the end of warm-ups. I am not doing any type of tribute that is placed in like between the national anthem and between the starting lineups. So if you are going to do one, that's how I would do it. What I think is probably most appropriate is that Scott Moak gives him not a full home entrance like he would normally get as a starter, but somewhere in between, where then you put the decision in the fans' hands. You have given De'Aaron a little bit more than a normal visitor gets, and you let the fans handle it from there. But again, whatever the Kings are going to do, I firmly believe is going to be targeted at what they think their season ticket holders want and what their sponsors want. As we sit here today, I think he's going to be booed, and he is going to be booed heavily. But the counter to those boos very well may be the season ticket holders. Understand that these season ticket holders that sit very close to the courts, they get to know, and I'm not saying like big time personally, but you see the same faces. They get to know the players a little bit more than somebody that doesn't go to every game and sits at the court. They see a different side of things. So they personally probably have a stronger connection to De'Aaron than some of us do. So I don't know what the right answer is. I don't. It's going to be interesting. But to Tay's point about the games, I gave you 4 games in the next 6 that I think are far more important than any of the games the Kings play on their long homestand against some of the best teams in the NBA. You've got a game against Golden State. You've got a game against Phoenix. You've got a game against the Clippers. Golden State and the Clippers, you are directly competing against right now for that 6th spot. Phoenix still scares the hell out of me, even though they are a dumpster fire. They came back and bit the Kings twice late last year. I think those 3 games, and before those 3 happen, the 4th game that is as important is this game that we're talking about right now. It's not as important in the standings as the other 3. But from a morale, from a momentum, from a cohesiveness, from a just as a fan base, an emotional sense, you've got to have the game against the Spurs. You got to. You just do. So I think those 4 games, all 4 of those 6 occur before the homestand. Those 4, I'm not including Denver tomorrow night. The Spurs, the Clippers, the Warriors, and the Suns. Those are the 4 most important games on the schedule in the next probably month, in my opinion. So that's where we will end it today. We were going to get to Steve Kerr, who criticized the officiating, by the way, saying that NBA is not teaching the referees to call travels. You know, Steve Kerr is really starting to talk a lot these days. Some things I agree with, some that I don't. This one, he to me is completely not even close to on base. Here's what Steve had to say.
You get a technical for just, I mean, you're just upset about a non-travel call.
I mean, I don't understand why we're not teaching our officials to call travel in this league. They do a great job. They work their tails off. They communicate well. But I see 5-6 travels a game that aren't called. You know, we had 4 ourselves in Philadelphia. None of them were called. You know, it's a problem when there's like 100 fans in the stands and every coach on the sidelines. You know, when I'm watching film, and it's like everybody's doing that. So everyone's seeing it. So we're clearly not teaching as a league our officials to look at the feet. And I've made that clear to the league. Maybe I'll hear back from them after these comments, but for the good of the game, the entire game is based on footwork. And for the good of the game, we need to enforce traveling violations, and we're not doing it. And
Okay, Steve, I agree. The reason Domantas Sabonis is special isn't because of his athleticism. It's because of his feet and his fundamentals. But Steve, here's the thing, my man. Here's the thing. The refs are looking at the feet. But Steve, if the refs called every travel, you wouldn't be able to play a damn basketball game, Steve. There is a traveling violation on almost every single play. Every single play. We can't add more replay to the NBA because you're worried about screwing up the flow of the game. Okay, why don't you go out there and call every single travel? You will have a whistle every possession. You will not have 2 or 3 possessions in a row without a whistle, Steve, and you know it. It's one of those unwritten rules. It's one of those, it's okay to go 70 and a 65, but as soon as you hit 80, they got to call it. It's how the game is, Steve. Come on, man. If you're going to go with a take at the NBA, at least get your money's worth. That's not getting your money's worth. That's just sounding like an idiot. A sour idiot. Come on, man. We're not teaching the refs to look at the feet. Seriously. Go watch an NBA game and watch how many times on the catch guys shuffle their feet. Here's another one, Steve. Oh, Steve, you want another $25,000 fine? Let me hook you up. I'm not going to be liable for any of it. You're going to pay the $25,000. But if you feel like giving another $25,000 away, Steve, you should tell them to call it the inbound violations on the big men inbounding the ball where their foot is actually on or over the line, Steve. Yeah, you should do that. You should say they're not looking at that either. Come on, man. He's got to do better than that. What an idiot. Idiot take. Idiot take. Anyways, all right. I know. I thought about that halfway. I thought about that halfway through. You're kind of right, Horse. I should be Coach Kerr. It is a good point. All right, we got to get out. Don't forget, Grant is back tonight, 7 o'clock. Join him for Open Forum. He'll be taking your calls and comments. And again, Open Forum is whatever you want it to be. So, Alex, if you want Grant to go off on some people in the chat, tell him. He might do it. It's Open Forum. And as always, we appreciate your feedback. Tristan sent me an email a couple weeks ago. Really appreciate that, Tristan. Thanks for the idea again. Alex, love you all. We'll be back tomorrow with the... Oh, actually, no, it's Wednesday. No King's Court. Maybe we'll do an early King's Court. I'll let you know, but we definitely have the King's Roundtable tomorrow at 4 o'clock. So you won't want to miss that, Jerry, Grant, and I. But before any of that... Open forum tonight with Grant. Appreciate each and every one of you. Go Kings, light the damn beam. Court is dismissed.